Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Beyond the Album Cover with Jarrell Mason, where we get inside the entertainment industry with those in the know and give them their flowers while they're here to be celebrated. With me right now, I have a man who is a man that's been a man of music. We're going to get into his journey, playing the keys or whatnot in the church, how he hooked up with my man. Shout out to Derek the Great. You know the last name, you know who I'm talking about. No need to go into that, but all that and more, and then some with Mr. Kev Cooper. Kev, welcome to Beyond the Album Cover, my brother.
Man, I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me, Jarrell. Thank you for having me. So I'm so happy, bro.
Not a problem. I appreciate you taking the time out to do this interview on the podcast.
Yes, sir. Hey, it's hot. It's lit. Your podcast is lit. I'm honored to be a part of it.
Man, I appreciate you wholeheartedly. So before we delve into your journey, I want to go into first, how did you and Derek the Great ended up connecting, becoming close friends?
Oh man, Derek, we talking about 25 years plus. Like he's been a great influence. When I moved down one day, I moved down to Charlotte, North Carolina, and you know when you a PK, I'm a PK. So it's like I have to find a church where every city I go to. You know what I'm saying? I have to find somewhere I have to go worship. So Derek's church, his father's church, Christ Gospel, Derek's father's church was right around the corner from where I was living on Tom Hunter Road. So I said, let me go over there, not knowing anything about who they were or anything. Got to the church, and right there, from there, they embraced me. And when I met him, he found that I was a musician. It was a plus. It was a plus working with his dad, backup playing, with his dad on the drums. If he needed whatever, that was a great experience. And when I met Derek, it was like it just clicked. Not knowing, honestly, I did not know who they were. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I felt when I got down there to Charlotte. I wanted somewhere where people didn't know my parents, because people they expect you to live or up to a certain standard, when they know your parents. It's like you make a mistake, they're on the phone with your parents, quick. And I'm like, God, and I had to find somewhere that didn't know my parents. And that was that church. And they treated me like family.
Mm-hmm. So you know all about that, getting that last minute call. So-and-so can't make it. Can you play this tent revival and be there in about a little less than 2 hours? We'll pay you at least $100 and we'll put you in the envelope and make sure that you get fed.
Yes. Oh man, I have so many them stories, bro. I got like a million. I got countless of them stories. That's crazy. Last minute. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with your music playing, was it more traditional training or by ear?
It was by ear. Everything I've done was by ear. When with my last name Cooper, my grandfather Willie Albert Cooper. He died in the 80s. But he could play every instrument. This is my mother's father. He could play every instrument known to man, even the xylophone and the cello, and he did all of that by ear. He picked it up, played, every instrument to every note, every key, everything. That Albert Willie Cooper. And we picked that up. Like I had my cousins, brothers, sister, we all picked it up. Like we all played, not one of us played every instrument, but we all played each instrument different. Like my cousin Danelle, he plays the guitar, the bass, some of the keys, and the drums. And I have a cousin named Avery who plays the same thing. Me, I don't dabble with the guitar and the bass, but the drums and the keys, and then I have singers, and it happened because of my grandfather, and in each generation of Coopers has come them same musicians. And a lot of people have asked me, why did I, go away from traditional church with the Coopers. And I haven't, but it's just, I believe that we have a lot to offer the world as far as music. We have a lot to offer. I mean, in every genre we play, every genre, and to box us in to just one genre would not be fair to my last name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I can see how with the intermission of the sanctified and the secular, and you're looking at acts like the late Andre Crouch, James
Yes,
Cleveland, Rance Allen,
yes,
the Rance Allen
yes,
Project, the Clark Sisters Commission, takes it
yes,
go on and on. Kurt Franklin, and about how they were able
yes,
to say, let's reach the people where they are, take a little bit of R&B melody and vocals, but we're talking about God and just meeting them where they are. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I got on commission late, but once I got onto commission, I could see how easily groups like Jodeci, Boys to Men, Shy, Silk were easily influenced
yes,
by them.
yes, definitely. Commission, I believe Commission has influenced a lot of R&B groups. You people can't tell me they haven't. Some people will not admit it, but believe me, you as a PK, I can hear that sound. And I'm like, wow, I heard that chord in the Commission joint. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really believe Commission has influenced, even the Clark sisters influenced a lot of R&B, a lot of R&B singers. They really have.
Because if we look at recently the verses that was just had with SWV and Escape
You,
on their debut album cover is My Living in Vain by the Clark Sisters.
yes, yes. You could, man, especially in certain, listen, in certain R&B acts, you can tell they came from church. You can't teach that. And there is certain, I don't care how much artist development you give, how much you put into them, how much vocal training you can send them to the best ones that have the anointing, that has that in their throat. And if you don't have that, you can't teach that. There's like a Coco, you can't teach that. That
No.
controlling that type of feeling and that type of to anybody. If you was born with that, you were born with that.
Right. We could go down the line. Johnny Gill,
What?
Casey, Aaron
What?
Hall,
What?
pretty much
Brother.
anybody that's been in the R&B game has had roots in the
Yes.
church.
Yes. You could tell, I've watched a lot of them, like award shows. I watch them. And then I watch a lot that go to, like, say, a Leandra Johnson concert. And it's something when a R&B singer who has that in them has, you pass them the mic. It's something about that setting breaks down everything. Like, you can see they're broken. They get you run to what you know. That is what you know. No matter how many oohs and ahs you'll sing and how many women and men chasing after you, it's something when you get in that setting and that mic and you're singing, man, that R&B singer breaks down every time. I done sing Coco, Tank, all of them break down.
Mm-hmm. And Jamie Foxx too. I mean, sing
What?
can play key. Boy is bad.
That is the most underrated male singer ever. His what was that? Infatuation.
Oh, off Peep This, slept on.
What? His was very slept on. That Jamie Foxx killed. His first album was so raw. Infatuation was a monster. To me, it was a monster. It influenced me. A lot of the people that you have said has influenced the way I write and the way I arrange my music. Like a lot of them.
Right. So would you say there's a difference when you had that church training, but you go into R&B where the training and the vocal techniques are a little bit different? And how do you tone the church down in order to make it palatable to an R&B mainstream audience?
It's hard, but it's always it's doable. Like it has been done. Um, what I had to do with my artists and myself, when I got in the booth, us when we in church, we hit it. Like we hit it. They teach us hit that song. And as far as R&B, most of 85% of the time you have to pull it back. You have to pull it back. You can't put all that on the album unless you have a. Woo, I would love a Jennifer Hudson. If you have a Jennifer Hudson, or remember that how that Beyonce, she came out with that maybe it's you, what I want, that then on that type of song, you could put all of that on. But please don't go like a tank, you can't do that. So it's hard, but it's always doable. It's just you gotta put your emotions, and it was hard for me. I had to do like 5 or 6 takes. Honestly, I had to do 5 or 6 takes on my single because of that.
So it's definitely a learning curve because you're going towards two solely different target demos. Where in the church it's about that anointing, but in the R&B realm it's about the conviction. You're trying to sell a song, but not oversell.
Not overselling. You can't. You just can't. It'd just be too much, you
Right,
know.
right, and
But I have caught some. I caught some has that David Hollister. He caught it. He he did it. He captured that all in that girl. I've got to go. I can't stay. That song you can hear, and even with Tank, slowly caught it. You can hear it come right out of him. You heard it. I'm like, ooh, like if you don't listen to the words and you can really just groove on the melody and you just groove, and you're here the church boy in Tank. You hear the church boy all in it.
right, and then we got to pay homage to the legendary Reverend Shirley Caesar from
Oh
the Bull City. So can we talk about the impact of Reverend Shirley Caesar going from her solo stuff even back to her stuff with the Caravans with the late Albertina Walker?
man, you talk about Shirley Caesar, who is the innovator, like changed the game for a lot of people. A lot of people have put up the greens, potatoes, ham, that little, the little joke thing that they got, the little meme. But that thing, even though it was a meme, that kept Shirley Caesar on a lot of people's lips. And that was the best free publicity that you could ever get. That meme for Shirley Caesar. But where's she at? Durham?
Yep, Bull City.
Awesome. When I say that woman can preach, I went to her church. My friend John Howard Jr. preached for the woman is and she'll give you a chance, and humble. I have met some juggernauts, and I don't want to call anybody name. I will, but I've met some juggernauts in the gospel world, and some of them you could not imagine. You couldn't even believe someone was saved. You know what I'm saying? But Shirley Caesar took her time and spoke to people. You can't even get on the elevator with some people. You can't speak to some folk. Man, I had it. But Shirley Caesar has been a very influential person as far as music, the word, excellence, and how people should treat you, and longevity. I don't care what genre of music you in. If you look at how Shirley Caesar's career is, that's longevity. And she's not just singing no charge. You know how some people catch a song and they sing it over and over and over, and that's their song. You can't do that with Shirley Caesar because she has multiple. Like you have Dolly Parton that sings 9 to 5. That's, you know, that's Dolly Parton. Now Dolly Parton will ride that 9 to 5 until whenever, because that was a hit. You can't do that with Shirley Caesar. Shirley Caesar has let's look how big it gets of hits. You can go back before I was born with some hits with Shirley Caesar. Until today, hits with Shirley Caesar.
Right. And another group that I feel they get credit, but they don't really get talked about enough for the impact of interwoven messages of faith with the R&B groove, the Staple Singers.
Pop Staples? What? Man, you talking, man, sit up there with a guitar and play with his family, man. Yeah, I believe they influenced a whole lot of rock and roll. That there's been a lot of people that, you know, people aren't going to say where they got this stuff from. A lot of people won't reveal, you know, what really influenced them. And I know some people back in the day, they have to say the Staple Singers. And that would be crazy for them not to. You can even see in some of the way they act. They, you know what I mean? Back in the day, they was moving like the Staple Singers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Staple Singles, legends, legends, legends. Now I want to fast forward a little bit. We had mentioned Derek the Great and his dad, Reverend Donald the Great, the late Reverend Donald the Great.
Yes.
And of
Donald
course, you know Donald the Great singer, excuse me. And you know yes, the sir. Brothers Dalvin and Devontae hooked up with Casey and JoJo to form a little called Jodeci. So what was it like seeing their rise and their influence on R&B and how their look and sound pretty much changed the landscape of R&B? And I'm gonna say this: Devontae Swing, bad man.
Let me tell you something about Devontae. Let me tell you something. I made you're gonna laugh, and whoever hears this not gonna believe me, but Derek and Devontae will back it up. I made the hugest mistake in my life. Huge back in the day. That I wasn't ready. I really wasn't. Before he made Basement Crew, Swing Mob, all that. Like they all was there. Like Missy Elliott, Timbaland, Magoo, Genuine, all Andre Harrell, all before. Like when Jodeci came home for the picnic, they came home for their show at home in Charlotte, and it was home, and I was playing at the church. I know, I'm not going to say it, but I'm pretty sure Derek had something to do with him asking me. I made the huge, Devontae asked me. He walked up to me at the picnic. Andre Harrell was like over this way. And he sat there. He walked up to me and he asked me, he said, "You want to sing for me?" I said, "No." Who says that? Listen to me. If anybody listens to this, to this particular part of this interview, if you have a person who is at their peak, they haven't even reached their peak, but is that's in the game, and they ask you, jump at that chance. The world is round, but some people don't get second chances like I'm getting right now. And he asked me. Now, the reason I said no, I didn't know. I didn't know he was gonna ask me. I told you, Derek was my friend. His father just treat me just like one of them, one of the family. And it wasn't no trying to get to them. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing like that. I was seeing their god sister or a friend. And like a night before or 2 nights, like my word has always been my word. Like I don't break my word for nobody. Like I can pride myself on that's my word. You know, if I give you my word, I'm gonna do everything in my power possible to make that happen. Or if I say I'm not gonna do something, I'm giving you my word is my word. I'm a man, and I believe you should have some type of integrity about your word. So, and that's my bond. So she asked me, she said, and it's horrible, but she said, promise me that if Devontae asks you to sing, you say no. You know, I'm not thinking I can sing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have, that's like in one ear and out the other one. And when she said it, I'm like, what you mean? She was like, I'm like, he gonna ask me something like that? She was like, nah, I'm just saying, if he asks you, just promise me you say no. That's the reason I said no, because of my word. Now, let's jump back again. If this thing repeated itself, if I could go back in the time machine at that particular moment, at that moment again, I would say yes so quick because of the doors and the generations that came behind me, my family. It would be easier to put them on. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm doing this. You know, it has nothing. I'm like, I had cried on my wife's bosom. I cried on her chest that like months ago before I even started this, before I made up my mind to make a company, to make a label, to be an artist, to get artists, to bring my family. I had like that, I relived that conversation with Devontae, and I cried like a baby. I cried like a baby because I have buried a couple of my family members who has had this gift. And I'm like, wow, I have another family member that's in the ground that's dying with this gift, and nobody in the world really heard it. Nobody had heard what we could give the world. And my wife, let me tell you what she did. She knew, like, she knew I was playing for a few churches, and I was singing for a few churches. My wife, out of nowhere, I see UPS pulling up at my house, and I have a studio. She ordered me my first studio, like laptop, speakers, V49 Alesis keyboard, program softwares, all types of things. And then it was like, here, now you got to learn how to do it. But that Devontae, if honest to God, and I, like I said, I didn't know, but when I knew, I knew. You know what I'm saying? That didn't change anything between how I felt about Derek, how I felt about Pastor Reverend the Great, how I felt about their family, it didn't change. Like, once I saw that it was Dalvin and Devontae, okay, it was Dalvin and Devontae. But if I could do it all over again, and that man asked me, of course, I would be a fool. I wasn't a fool to say no. I was a man of integrity and a man of my word. I know people say you was stupid. I don't feel as though, I feel as though that was a dumb move, but I believe God honored that. And I believe he's kept, like, I don't look like I'm going on 47. I'll be 48. He's kept me, and he's kept me for what he was keeping me for. And I believe that he honored that, and he's given me another chance at music. I called, Eric was with it.
Everything happens in due time, in his time, not in our time, but in his time.
You better say it. I believe I would have OD'd. I think I would have lost my life if I would have said yes back then.
Now let's take it up to the 313 for a minute. And we kind of mentioned earlier commissioned Clark Sisters, but what is it about Detroit and how you had all those pillars of contemporary gospel R&B out of the area? You got Aretha Franklin, commissioned, the Winans, J. Moss, the list goes on and on of all the great help from the D.
Detroit has, is Deitrick Haddon from Detroit?
That I'm not sure.
Okay, Detroit has given some info. You know, that's funny. That's funny that you're speaking about Detroit. My biological father's in Detroit. I have and sisters in Detroit. I lived in Detroit when I was 9 years old, and I moved back from Detroit when I was 11. So I stayed there for 2 years. I wonder what would have happened if I would have stayed, you know, but the Winans, the Clark sisters, and Commission alone, bruh, that right there messed up. They can mess up any, you take all three and you can hear all three in many different types, many genres of music. Commission alone, Commission, man, you don't understand the things Commission has done. I mean, I know you do, but people don't understand that you got writers, but they could have went any way and made it in music. But their influence in gospel, bruh, Commission, man, I would love a Commission reunion album. You know what I'm saying? Not just a single, a whole album.
And a tour too, once everything.
A tour too, because I'm going. I don't have to perform. I just want to go and look and listen. Could you imagine the new sounds from a Commission in 2021, 2022? Lord have mercy.
I know, but let me say this before you continue though. When I had interviewed Mitchell Jones and told him about how all of the 90s R&B groups were influenced by them, he was like, man, we didn't realize we had that much influence in R&B. Because if you listen to Mitchell's voice and listen to Sean Stockman's voice from Boyz II Men,
oh God,
dead
say
ringer,
that.
dead ringer.
Yes, say that. You can hear it. What? That man is. They could have went. I'm glad they chose gospel. I really am. I because that solidified them. That separated them. But Lord, you can hear the homage from other people with Commission.
Because if you listen to I'm Still Waiting on Forever My Lady, KC saying what? My arms are open wide, that's from Running.
My arms are open wide. Same thing. Yeah, you listen to music, don't you, Jarrell?
Yes, sir. I grew up listening to radio, watching Video Soul Train, studying Jet and Ebony, you know, because I remember when Forever My Lady dropped, I was like around 6 at the time, and just seeing how, for the first time musically for me, seeing guys from North Carolina make it, and was like, man, I stayed his own musically, and then to see everybody that's came, you know, after them, like your Sunshine Andersons, your Anthony Hamiltons, Little Brother, Rhapsody, J. Cole, Go Get the Off Season, dope record, and just how North Carolina saying, hey, we're known for more than just NASCAR, Pepsi, and Michael Jordan.
Yes, sir. Yes. Listen, my wife said, when I was doing the music, she said, baby, that's where lightning hit you at in Charlotte. She said, go back to Charlotte. Don't go back up north. She said, go to Charlotte. That's where you're going. She ain't been wrong yet.
Yeah. So can we talk about the impact of Teddy Riley and how he was able to blend R&B, hip hop, gospel, different genres, and created New Jack Swing, which set the stage for later what was to come with hip hop soul and Diddy, and how without Teddy, I don't think we would have that meshing of the different genres. Although we got to give acknowledgement to Full Force, because they were doing that as an early precursor before Teddy really jumped it off.
Yes, sir. Now, Teddy Riley is to me is the blueprint. Like, he's to me, and I don't want anybody to feel disrespected, because that's not what I get into music. You know, you can't get into music to be disrespectful. Music is a combination of a bunch of different things to flow together. And Teddy Riley, he is the blueprint of producers for me. And with Guy, when I heard, let me tell you something. I remember I was in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I was in, I broke something because I remember my mom saying something to me because I was so lost in Groove Me. When I heard Groove Me, when I heard that beat, when I heard Aaron Hall hit that thing, and then when I heard the vamp of it, I was struck. I said, that's how music's supposed to sound. You know, Teddy Riley, and when he did it again, listen, when you have a sound and you have a brand that can't be mimicked, when you take it away for a while, and then when you bring it back, they embrace you so quick because you couldn't mimic a Teddy Riley sound. If you mimic the Teddy Riley sound, the world will let you know about it quick. Back then, we was raw, so we'll let you know. Nah, man, that's Teddy Riley. You sound like Teddy Riley. Get about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But Teddy, when he came back and did it with Blackstreet, when he did it with what was it? Rum Shaker. When he did, man, listen, you talk about, he did it with Guy. He came in with the rap with the Rum Shaker, and then he came in with Blackstreet. And each one of them groups were successful.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't fail.
No.
He didn't fail at that. Not one. He didn't fail. Not one time. That's Teddy Riley. When I back to Groove Me. When I know I Miss You, and I know what's the other one that he had? Piece of My Love. My God, listen to me. When Teddy Riley came out with that right there, he changed the game. He got out of, listen, he made you accountable. You had to go back to the lab and had to come out with something hot. Teddy Riley made a lot of producers and a lot of singers. And Guy and Teddy, they made a lot of people accountable. You could not come out with no junk, man. You couldn't come out with just anything and thinking you're going to get played behind. Could you imagine coming out with some junk and happen to get on the radio, and you had a Teddy Riley joint before yours and then a Teddy Riley joint after yours, and you got some between that? Nah, you can't come out with no messing with Teddy Riley. Teddy Riley is the blueprint for producing. He's the blueprint.
And also too, he probably would not have discovered Virginia Beach, and we may not have known all the talent that was in the Tidewater 757 area. Neptune,
Yes,
Pharrell, Shad, Shane, Mike E, everything that came out of the Hampton Roads.
Yes, Teddy Riley had a big influence on all of that. That, man, a lot of the people came out because of Teddy Riley. You know, and you know, I hear a lot of people saying what they say, you know, they try to talk about, I'm like, y'all crazy. Y'all, that's like talking about Spike Lee. Is you crazy? Stay in your lane, man. I tell a lot of people, stay in your lane, man. Get in the lane, find it, and ride in it. Because Teddy Riley's in his lane. Like, you might get ran over for trying to be in that man's lane. Leave that man alone. That's Teddy Riley.
Right. And being outside of Charlotte, and of course, further down 85, we got A-Town, aka Atlanta. So can we just talk about that influence and how, had it not been for LA and Babyface moving down to Atlanta, we would not have the Atlanta movement, which also parlayed in the So Def and everything that's came out after, you know, with T.I., Ludacris. We could go down list of all the acts that came out of Atlanta.
Atlanta has had a run that was not seen by the music industry. they did not see that coming from Atlanta. Like, you know, when you had LA and Babyface, when you had like Atlanta, you wouldn't have thought that Atlanta was going to be like that. Okay. If you move from you going anywhere, you would either go to New York or you would go to LA. That's it. Nobody ever thought that Atlanta would be in that conversation. You could go to Atlanta now and run a multi-million-dollar record label out of Atlanta without moving to LA or New York.
Mm-hmm.
That itself says enough about Atlanta.
Right.
That scene has brought So Def, Jagged Edge. What? They have brought some music that can't be changed, can't be erased, and will never be forgotten. Atlanta.
Nope. And a group that I want to say that were out on the face that was highly slept on, album was slept on, Highland Place Mobsters.
My man, look, there's a few people that I've listened to, few people I haven't, few people I heard about. They've been slept on for the longest of time. Like, there's a lot of people, but you know what? The thing is, but you can, if you like, say if you heard just say if you heard say a Goody Mob, or say if you heard West Coast Connection. Let's say that. You heard a West Coast Connection. They would get outshined by them because airplay and people sleeping on them. If they didn't sleep on them, they'd have probably enjoyed more music than they had.
Mm-hmm. Right. And one of the precursors to come out of Atlanta before LaFace and everything was the SOS band, and they were signed to Taboo, did work with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. And I'm also going to give you the North Carolina connection. And he just recently got inducted into the 2021 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. North Carolina native out of Climax, North Carolina, the Black Godfather himself, Mr. Clarence Avant.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now look. You said, now, hold up. What the first thing you said in that statement was what? Say it again.
The precursor to LaFace and everything else that came out of Atlanta, the SOS band came out of Atlanta.
Right there. That was enough right there. SOS band. Did you hear what I said? Listen, that band has been you see how the sweat coming off me now. You talking about SOS? Listen here, bruh. That band is still an influence in my music right now. Right now. Look, right now. I'm working on something. And it's from the SOS. It's not what everybody thinks. It's from they are still they're still in my top 5. SOS band, still in my top 5, have not moved from their position in my life. SOS band.
Mm-hmm. And then for some of you that do not know the band Brick, one of the members of Organized Noise, Sleepy Brown, his dad, lead singer of Brick.
Sleepy Brown is a goon. I didn't know that. I didn't know his father was the lead singer of Brick. Mm-hmm. Now where he get it from. Sleepy Brown's a goon. You hear his name, you sleeping on him. Mm-hmm. He's smooth with it. Sleepy Brown is a goon.
Right. Hey. Organized Noise was none to play with. All that classic work that came out of the Dungeon, Outcast, Southern Playalistic, Cadillac Music, Goody Mob, Cell Therapy. I mean, it literally it came out the mud, out that red Georgia red clay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right out there, it came out the mud. They got that out the mud, man. They worked that. They worked that. They made you respect them. If you didn't respect them, you was deemed as, you know how they say hate. Back in the day, it was called player hate. Mm. You was deemed as a player hater. You could come on, man. Come on.
Right.
You have to give them their due. You
Yeah,
had to.
yeah. The South got something to say. What Andre 3000 said at that Source Awards, because you got to remember at the time it was either you were bumping what was coming out of New York or coming out of
Uh-huh.
LA, out of Death
Out of
Row.
LA.
And the South
Mm-hmm.
was looked at as okay, you got what was coming out of Memphis with 3 6 Mafia, 8 Balls,
Mm-hmm.
MJG, Miami with Uncle Luke, 2 Live Crew, and everything out of there. In Houston,
Mm-hmm.
Scarface, Ghetto Boys, everything that was coming out of Rap a Lot with Jay Prince, and then also UGK, rest in peace, Pimp C, and how the South
See.
was always looked at as lower tier to what was coming out of New York and LA.
And I don't know why. I, that always that bugged me out. That really bugged me out. I argue with I argue I had a little I literally had an argument with somebody and told them about I like was really getting into them about Outkast. Like what I'm like, do you hear what Outkast did? Did you hear what Andre? Did you hear what he did? Like when the Hey Y'all is a classic. That man changed the game. Them Outcasts, the South, to me, embraced more of that South. When you heard, I remember when I heard David Banner for the first time.
From Mississippi.
Bro, I rewound David Banner 5 times because that beat grabbed me. It grabbed me from the beginning. And then when Homeboy came out, young David came out spitting, I couldn't believe it. But then when you talk about down south, bro, I used to live in Orangeburg, South Carolina. I was
Home of South Carolina State, and then of course you know about the Orangeburg massacre.
Yes, sir. I was there with my godfather, right? Bishop Ronald Brown. He's the biological father of Mario Winans, right? And I was there. And I met some rappers, bruh. This was before I'm talking, I was listening to down south rap and down south flow before it really caught on. And when I'm saying, I'm like, yo, y'all late. Y'all been late. Them boys down south give it they all. And why would you be from down south trying to sound like California and New York? You have to make it your own.
Yep.
And I'm proud of them.
You be you, because I didn't know this until the Art of Organized Noise documentary that Diddy directed the video for Players Ball, and how he told Andre 3000, rep where you from, wear your Atlanta Braves jersey, be you, don't try to be like New York, be Atlanta.
Don't. I'm from New Jersey, and I never tried to be like I'm from New York. You know, I was born in Lakewood, New Jersey, and I was raised in Atlantic City, Newark, all that, all up and down in New Jersey. But I was always proud to be from the New Jersey Devil State, the Garden State. I was happy. And I'll always be happy to be from New Jersey. And I always tell everybody, I don't care where you from, be happy where you from, because you're putting your place on where you're from. You know, like Lakewood, New Jersey. There's some stars that came that's in Lakewood, and they haven't been discovered. Some of them had their chance, like my friend. He was with Bev 10, Khalid Brock. He from Lakewood, New Jersey. Grew up with the guy. Grew up great. His name is Mr. Voice on Facebook. On Instagram. He is a goon and one of the most humblest guys that you ever would know. Like Lakewood, and I tell anybody, I'm from Jersey. I'm from Lakewood. I'm not from New York. You can hear it in my voice. I mean, if you're from Jersey, you can hear the difference between Jersey and New York. Right. And Boston. But people, they think we sound alike.
Right. So speaking of Jersey, do you feel that all of the rappers that came out of Jersey got overshadowed by everybody that was across the bridge in New York, like your
Nah,
Queen Latifah,
nah.
Naughty, Lords of the Underground, Redman, Apache, that whole crew. Like Jersey always
None.
felt like they had something to
45.
prove.
Listen, the flavor unit, Mark and the 45 King, Mark the 45 King, the flavor unit out of Newark, New Jersey, none. They overshadowed a lot of people in New York. Let's just keep it 100. You had a lot of them, like Joe Flip Wilson from Newark, Faith Evans, you know what I'm saying? Natalie Wilson. You have a lot of them jokers from Newark, Susu Bobian from Newark, all these jokers from Newark. Nah, they didn't get overshadowed by New York. New York, New York is more lights, camera, action. You know what I'm saying? New York, and don't get me wrong, you want to make it, if you make it in New York, you can make it everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But nah, New Jersey, they did their thing. Redman, when he met up with Method Man, look what happened. He made Method Man even bigger. You know what I'm saying? And look, I mean, you have a lot of New Jersey natives from Newark, from the tip of it, from Kearney, you got from Newark, Jersey City, all the way down to Atlantic City, Wildwood, all the way down to that area that had given music, given their part to music. You know what I'm saying? Like you got Atlantic City, you got the Jerkins. Come on, Dark Child. They've given their part. You know what I'm saying? You got up north, you got a whole lot. There's too many labels to count. Up north, them boys doing it in Newark. They're doing it in Lakewood. The problem is the chance. It's the chance. Somebody sticking their arm out, sticking their neck out, or sticking their hand out, reaching back, getting you and giving you a chance. That's right. the opportunity.
Because we can go down the list of more acts that come from Jersey: Regina Bell, Bernard Bell, Big Bub, Today, Riff.
Boy, wait a minute. Big Bub. That Today, oh my God. That man, that they a lot of people forgot about Freddie Drexler. A lot of people forgot about Big Bub. A lot of people forgot that boy influenced a lot of singers. Big Bub and Today. Yeah, you got Fugees. Fugees. Enough. Lauryn Hill. Man, New Jersey has given a lot to the music. Yeah, and it seems like it came from New York. But if you read the link, how they say the link is in the bio. If you read the link in the bio, you'll find out they're from New Jersey. And New Jersey has given just as much as New York is giving.
Right, because when I listen to Big Bub vocally, I tell people this all the time. He's like Luther Vandross had he gone full-blown New Jack Swing. Hip-hop R&B.
Yes. Yeah. Luther, Big Bub voice telling me stories. Now, listen here. That joker had me listening to telling me stories, listening to the way he sang, trying to mimic the riffs and his cadence and his breathing, because bruh, he was the smoothest dude. He's still Big Fred, that dude, oh my God, could sing. He can sing. That man is they forgot about him.
Yeah, out of this world. And we were talking about SOS Band earlier and mentioned Jam and Lewis. Can you talk about their influence, and then also what was it like for you hearing for the first time New Edition's Heartbreak, and how Jam and Lewis was able to make that transition for them from literally boys to men, and made the transition of adding Johnny Gill into the group work?
When I was a big, now look, I'm a big new, on the low, I'm the biggest New Edition fan probably in the world, man.
I'm an NE fan too.
Yeah, man, look, man, when I saw them at the BET Awards going up, bruh, listen here, I still watch that concert. And I and my wife, I do all the moves. Like, I'm gonna try to get on there on my birthday and try to show, you know what I'm saying? When I listen to that, with SOS, influence. But when you talking about New Edition has been, me and my friends in Martin Luther King in Lakewood, New Jersey, when we was growing up, we shoveled some snow outside because New Edition came out with a song and we wanted to practice. Could you imagine kids being out there trying to be like the kids from Boston, New Edition, trying to do their thing, you know? But when I heard the Heartbreak, when I heard Johnny, now New Edition, I felt like was just like me. You know what I'm saying? They listen. But when I heard Johnny Gill with them, bruh, that was their missing piece. And when you heard Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis put a masterpiece together with, when they went, what was it? Boys to Men. Oh, when Johnny Gill did that one run, you heard the difference from Mr. Telephone Man. You heard the difference from Candy Girl, Pop. You heard the difference from what they growing up when they did it. You seen the reason why they put on them, what is that, velvet jackets and them hats and them, and they came out smoother than butter. That was Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam.
Mm-hmm. And
then it went from Adidas and BKs to shoes and slick pants and a nice velour jacket, man. Woo, them boys,
bad boys, and their influence can still be felt to this day. If it wasn't for New Edition, there wouldn't be New Kids on the Block, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees, BTS, pretty much any male pop R&B group in the past 4 decades have been influenced by the 6 men of New Edition.
Yes, and if they say they haven't, they lying. You can listen. I hope they make a meme out of me. They're lying. I'm telling you. New Edition. They are, if you're making a group, if you're a group and you say, "Oh no, I don't know what New Edition," you're crazy. Even today, you know who New Edition is. Like I don't care who you are. Even if you're doing something like a Belle Biv DeVoe, that's still New Edition. You understand? Like, regardless, if you went off and did a By Yourself Ralph or By Yourself Johnny, that's still New Edition. Listen to the sound. It still sounds New Edition.
Right.
You know?
Right. And if you were influenced by Boys to Men, you were influenced by New Edition.
New Edition. If you man, listen, if you have influenced any part of Boys to Men, it was New Edition. And ABC, New Edition, any one of them, what was the rapper, Breeze and Khalid Bibb, New Edition. Like, New Edition started this thing a long time ago. And they didn't have to beg for it. Them boys they didn't have to knock on the doors. They knocked down the doors. They kicked them doors down and made it easier for people like me, people like me, period. I ain't even gonna say nobody else. People like me to make music. People like Cooper Family Music to make music. They made it easier, man.
Right. And thinking about Bobby and how he was one of the first artists to really settle in Atlanta, he put together Boss Town Studios. That was the original studio. And then I believe that later became Stankonia Studios.
Stankonia, yeah.
Owned by Outkast. That's the Atlanta connection. And then I'm going to tell you something else too. I want to give props to Climax. Climax, I believe they're going to go into the Women's Songwriters Hall of Fame. And I just had Bernadette Cooper on the podcast, and I was telling her, since Jam and Lewis did a lot of early work with them, I asked her, I was like, do you think that you guys were the template that they used for Janet and Control?
Yeah. Man, yes. You can, now that you said that, you know what I'm saying? When you said that, then you said Janet Jackson and Control, of course. Come on, man. Climax. was a female group of female musicians and singers and writers and producers and engineers and mixers. They didn't know the behind the scene that Climax had. They could run you had an engineer in Climax. You had a mixer master, all of that in Climax. You understand? Like you didn't have to worry about, like you couldn't just tell them anything.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Go
they
ahead.
had an ear for everything. Now, if it wasn't for George Spinderella Irby, would not have Dallas Austin, Sammy, or Lloyd.
Man, listen, you can't even you can't even, like, you wouldn't have half the stuff. You wouldn't have a quarter of the stuff we listening to if it wasn't for me. A quarter. I'm gonna give them that much because of the cadence, because of the rhythm, because of the influence, because of the feel. You can hear it in a lot of me. Like I heard, what was I listening to the other day? And I said, wow, that's some, I forget who it was. But it was the beat was from when I was little. I'm like, wow, they still using this music. Like, wow, like they still sampling this music today.
Right. And want to go down south to New Orleans. One of the down south production duos that I'm glad they're finally getting their just due now. They just recently did an interview on the 85 South podcast with Carlos Miller, Chico Bean, DC Youngfly, talking about KLC, Don Juan, Moby Dick, Beats by the Pound.
Moby Dick. Yeah. Yeah, that 85. Them boys crazy. I caught that at. Them boys crazy.
They're a fool. And also, we got to give props to Nick Cannon.
Nick, listen here, man. I don't know. I'm not going to even touch it, but Nick Cannon is a genius. Nick Cannon keeps surprising people to this day. You know, they say, oh, his album didn't do all this, but he made an album. Remember that. But y'all bought it. This is what was crazy with me. Y'all bought Nick Cannon's album to tell Nick Cannon how bad it was. But you bought the album. Get what I'm saying? Like, all good press, bad press. You know what I'm saying? It goes hand in hand. Nick Cannon, but they didn't know Nick Cannon could sing. Nick Cannon could play the piano. He ain't just a drummer boy. Like, Nick Cannon is a musician, first of all. And actor, great. I like his movies. Listen, I don't care. I like a storyline. I don't care what nobody thinks. I like drumline. You know what I mean? I like it. I don't care. I like a storyline. You know what I mean? And Wildin' Out, Nick Cannon, salute to you, bro. Like, keep your head up. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what give you all the support in the world, Nick.
Yeah, because I didn't find out about him playing the keys and singing until I heard him and Kiki Sheard do that cover of Fred Hammond, No Weapon.
But we been knew about this Nick. You know what I'm saying? A few people knew about this Nick. You know what I'm saying? Nick Cannon has an ear for music. Like, if Nick produced that album for somebody, it'd probably be a smash because he got an ear. All he says, he that has an ear, let him hear.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So can we talk about Beats by the Pound and how what they did for No Limit was unremarkable, the content that they were putting out. And I think I'm glad that the No Limit Chronicles came out to really highlight what they did. Master P, Mr. Cool, Mia X, C Murder, Mac, Fiend, all those acts out of No Limit, what they did and how they changed hip hop.
That's how I'm running my company. Master P is an influence on me right now. How to brand your company as an independent and to brand yourself and to push, no matter what anybody tell you. You know what I mean? Master P put his family on. He took the ones that want, like, he probably have a whole bunch of other family members that, you know, can do music and all this other stuff, but he took the ones that was as hungry as he was and was not going to take no as an answer. and made it happen. Beats by the pound. That that right there is it's still getting played. Bruh, Master P was before his time. And I'm glad that they gave music what they gave music, because there's a lot of Master P songs that could be turned into R&B. Come on, man. I got the hook up too. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. Master P is a genius. And I'm gonna be the one to say that. And I don't care who didn't say it. I don't ride nobody coattails. I ain't with all that. I don't brown nose nobody. I'm a man. I stand on my own. You know what I'm saying? He is a genius. He's a genius. He came from an independent, listen to me, independent. He went to the mainstream, but he put his family on, made a lot of music, then made movies, then little TV shows, then little food, and he keep his hand. He is a great businessman. And I know he just did something with a new product.
Yeah, he's putting out his own ice cream, the for real Mr. Ice Cream Man.
Bro, come on, ice cream? Bruh, do you understand? Listen to me. Master P is a genius. He's a genius. If you want a blueprint of how to run your company, you want a little blueprint. Yeah, it's gonna be some struggle. It's gonna take some money, but you know, social media now is a little easier, you know. But Master P is a goon. Right. How you run he has a company that's compared to nobody.
Right. And I didn't know about this until the No Limit Chronicles, that he went out to the Bay first to go ahead and get his bearings before he went back to New Orleans. Now we know about the influence of the Bay Area, all of the great acts that came out of there: Sly and the Family Stone, Come Function, Sheila E., Tony, Club Nouveau, Timex Social Club, Too Short, E40, now G-Eazy. Then we have Souls of Mischief, Hieroglyphics, Homo sapien. But one man, this one man who I'm glad now people are saying because of him, rap is pop. Don't let them pants fool you, because he can do this. MC Hammer.
Boy, listen here. I don't care what you say about Hammer. Hammer, if you can say, oh, Hammer ain't rap. Let me tell you something about MC Hammer. They say Hammer can't rap. Why they sound like MC Hammer today? That I was me, like my wife is my best friend. You know what I mean? That's my business partner, my best friend. Me and my wife was sitting there talking, and we was listening to some of the flow today. Like cause you know, my wife is a little younger than me, so I took her back. You know what I'm saying? I took her back to African Fan Fighter, and then I took her back to with Big Daddy Kane and Rakim, and I stayed in that era, right? Run DMC, that era, right? And I pushed play, and I let her listen to the flow. And then I pushed play to some of the rappers today, and she said, "There's no difference." I said, "I told you this world is round." MC Hammer, you got people out here rapping, flowing like MC Hammer now. The same people that said he couldn't rap. Remember when MC Hammer came out, it wasn't this commercial lights rap. MC Hammer made it lights and commercial and fun and stage presence. He came out in a lyrical era. MC Hammer came out when you had lyricists, you had Third Bass, you had Rakim, you had Polo, you had what's some Cool G Rap, you had Master Ace, you had that movement coming out. What were you doing coming out with this Run DMC flow like this, man, at this time? But it stayed. Mm-hmm. It's MC Hammer. MC Hammer is very influential today. And MC Hammer teach you what not to do too.
Right. And then we're going to go a little bit further south to LA and talk about the influence of Dr. Dre, Snoop and Death Row, how when The Chronic came out next year, The Chronic would be 30, how
Good
that album
night.
changed pop forever.
That album. Now you talking about Dr. Dre. You talking about, man, Dr. Dre. And I know movies don't tell it all. You know what I'm saying? And it don't tell it all. Just to go through what he went through in the movie, from what I know, and then from the books I've read and interviews I've heard, he he can influence a lot of folk if he told his story. You know what I'm saying? But he, as far as producing, is, if you're one of them people that's still living in the past, crazy. Dr. Dre is and always will be, to me, the sound of the West Coast. Like that's to me. You know what I mean? And somebody might grip me up and grab me by my collar and be like, no, he ain't. You know what I mean? But Dr. Dre, to me, he has been the sound of the West Coast since he came out with NWA. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has been like the blueprint of what you want to go after, how you want to lay your stuff down. Come on, man. This man has, look at his run. NWA. To be able now to a DJ, from a DJ to a producer to a artist, owner, he went from DJing to all the way making headphones. You understand the influence?
Mm-hmm.
That's business. This man knows business. But his sound, Snoop Dogg, that's why I knew Snoop Dogg's flow. They still flowing like Snoop right now. Right now, that sound, they flowing like them jokers right now. Right now, I don't care what type of beat they doing. They sound, Megan Thee Stallion, Baby, all them. They sound like them jokers from back in the day. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about they flow, because I love their music. You know what I'm saying? Their music is hot. You know what I mean? But they sound like what I grew up on. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I heard it before. You know, I'm glad that they're doing the music, and I'm glad that people getting behind them and pushing them the way that they pushing them. But somebody did that before them. You know what I'm saying? And it made it easier for them to do it now.
Right, because if you take a look at Dr. Dre and his influence, Snoop, Warren G, 50, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, The Game, all of them ties back to him.
All of them tied back to Dre. Everybody. When Dre and them came out with the NWA, and even if when they split, Ice Cube, remember, Ice Cube was NWA. Before he had West Coast Connection and all that, and with Mac Dre and all that, he was NWA. And when Ice Cube split, even though that sound, you still heard Dre in there, man. You can't be like me and my brother split. You'll hear some of mine or some of him with me and some of me with him, because we've been together. I mean, you still hear Dre. Dre is, to me, Dre is Mr. West Coast.
Mm-hmm. And Eazy discovered Bone Thugs and Harmony, but I also want to give props to some guys on the West that I feel don't get enough shine, enough recognition, but they should. Spice One, MC8, Compton Most Wanted, King T. I want to go with LA Posse, DJ Battlecat, and DJ Quick. Y'all gonna put some respect on DJ Quick's name.
They gotta put some respect. If they don't put no respect on Quick name, man, Quick was the smoothest cat back in the day. DJ Quick came out with that perm. I wouldn't care if he did have a 40 ounce in his hand out of the refrigerator in the video. He was smooth. Quick was they don't respect, they crazies. I don't know what, man. They had them boy that Spice One. He was another one. Another one. They underrated. They overlooked. MJG, 8 Ball, overlooked.
Out of Memphis.
Overlooked. You can put it, but them jokers, their music was overlooked. Listen, just you want to hear it? To go right back to Boys in the Hood. When hear them boys, go to Boys in the Hood. Them boys made Boys in the Hood soundtrack sound like it was awesome.
And a producer who I feel is underrated and definitely should get a lot more shine, a lot more recognition. Hails from the 336, did work for Reasonable Doubt for Jay-Z, Camp Low, Uptown Saturday Night, talking about Ski Beats from Greensboro, North Carolina. Shout out to the
I feel like you gotta make sure ain't no cameras in my this thing been on. Camp Low. I was just talking to somebody about Camp Low. Like yo, they was so good night. Camp Low in the back there, they was hot. They was hot, little scarves on their neck and this little hat turned to the side, rapping. Them jokers was hot. Camp Low. Wow. Yeah, that's
that Uptown Saturday Night album, classic album, and we cannot underestimate the impact of Diddy and how he took what he learned from the late Andre Harrell at Uptown, applied it to Bad Boy, made rap pop, gave us one of the greatest rappers of all time, and the production staff at Daddy's House. Listen, Mario Winans, D-Dot, Tony Dope, Harv Pierre, Easy Mo Beat. The list goes on all the talent that was at Mary Brown.
Bruh, when you said, man, P. Diddy, Biggie Smalls, Christopher Wallace, rest in peace. When I say that Sean Combs made a way for a lot of people. Sean Combs, P. Diddy. If I'm not mistaken, when I heard P. Diddy doing it again. Yeah, what I heard P. Diddy is doing something again, trying to do. You can't replicate what you did the first time. You can't. The way them jokers was marching in the streets with the Bad Boys signs and that energy. Remember that fire, that energy from Bad Boy back in that energy. Good night, the street, the influence, the man, he could come out and do anything, just you know what I mean, and they go crazy. But that energy, you can't replicate that energy. You cannot. But you could do it again. And you talk about, remember the R&B cuts with the hip hop, Mary J. Blige and Biggie Smalls rapping to the, man, listen, Juice, man, just to have some type of excitement of Sean Combs producing again, gonna produce an album, gonna produce some hotness, that is excitement enough for me, because that's music was music. I love music. And if he does it again, brother, believe me, I'm gonna be first in line to buy the joint.
Right. Yeah, because if we take a look at hip hop at that time, you had Bad Boy, you had No Limit, you had Cash Money, Rough Riders, and just recently we lost DMX, and how DMX, he had that ability to be of the streets, but also mainstream, but he never lost touch with the man up above.
Never. That, you never know how somebody's influenced by God. You never know how deep someone's spirituality or their connection is with God, because we're looking at him on the surface, and you never, and your connection with God and your relationship with God is personal. It ain't for everybody to know you have a real relationship with God. Let people judge you the way they want to judge you. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know that you can't even hear prayer or a church song or a message without being caught or touched in some type of way. That man, DMX, was fighting whatever he was fighting. And he know how to pray. I believe us that know better, if we're ever given that chance at the end to get it right, you can't tell me that we ain't gonna take that opportunity to get it right, knowing we ain't gonna get up off our back again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He was spiritual. Man had some, you can hear always praying, always trying, always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he
like
knew that word was steady praying,
like,
praying without ceasing.
Boy, without ceasing. I went through something like that. Substance abuse. I went through it. I lost my great grandmother, right? This is same time Devontae asked me the same for him. I had lost her, and I didn't hear music for a while. And when I say I lost her, I went to the store and I came back 20 minutes later. She was on her face dead. And the woman that raised me since I was 2 years old. You know what I'm saying? And cocaine was my friend because it made me forget. But then I found out once I was doing it, I started liking it a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? And I thank God that I was graced enough to put it down and walk away from it. Like anything that had an addiction on me, like cigarettes, all that. When I say I just put it down, didn't have to go to rehab, didn't have to go to the counseling, didn't have to do nothing. I just made up my mind. This thing, cigarette, cocaine, alcohol, I don't care what it is. It cannot smoke or drink or do itself. It needs you. So that means you're in control. And if you know that you're in control and that thing, it's just a distraction, then you know how to deal with it. I have seen cocaine and drugs addiction be a distraction for a lot of purposeful people. And what I mean is a lot of people have purpose in their life, but they're distracted by that thing that they're chasing. And you'll never fulfill your purpose. Never. I don't care who you are. You will never fulfill your purpose if you're chasing your distraction. You'll always be distracted. You understand? Like, and I'm not, and like, and that, even at that time, I don't even know where I'm going. Even at that time, I remember I had money stolen from me. Like my influence, my inheritance that was left to me. I don't really know who took it. I was some people, my family, whatever, at the time, and I'm glad they did. That probably would have OD too, but they took it from me, and it, at first I was bitter about a lot of things. I was bitter, and I read the word. I can pull a message out of the Bible for me to get, for me to feel better. And so I heard one day, I was just sitting doing music, and I heard it wasn't bitter to make you bitter. I'm like, what do you mean it wasn't bitter to make you bitter? It's like, it wasn't bitter to make you bitter. It was bitter to make you better. I'm like, and I understood exactly what that meant. It wasn't hard to make me evil or make me harder. It wasn't bitter to make me bitter. It wasn't bitter to make me evil, but it tastes bitter to make me better. That's like castor oil. It don't taste good going down, but at the end of it, it makes you feel better. So my life, what I went through, it wasn't bitter to make me feel bitter about it or pity. It was bitter to make me better, honest to God. And that's the best way I can explain my life and what this journey is right now, Jarrell. It wasn't bitter to make me better. Everything I lost everything I went through, every hard struggle, everything. It was not bitter to make me salty and make me angry and evil. It was bitter to make me better. It was bitter to make me know I can go through some things and survive it. I can come out of the other side clean. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Like this, I'm not angry about anything I went through. Honest to God, I embraced and I let go of everything I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say the music, when the music turned back on, Jarrell, I can't turn it off. I'm talking, the other day, other week I slept from Thursday to Saturday. I laid down Thursday night, slept all Friday, got up, used the bathroom, get back in the bed, and woke up Saturday. The music did not turn, it still ain't turned off, but I was working.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, you got to go through that fire. Once you go through that fire, you come out pure gold.
Come out right. I'm not scared of people say, aren't you nervous about making a record company and having it ran? No. I'm going to tell you what. This short amount of time, look where I'm at. I'm talking to Jarrell Mason. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing an interview. Now I have other things going on, but why would it be that hard for Cooper? That's the only way I can explain it. Like it's not hard at all. I have engineers, singers, a band. I have interchangeable band. I have members of a band. I can interchange the band, and we don't have to be around each other for years. But come together, tell us what key you want. Watch us play together. It's like that. I got singers. I have marketing team. I have somebody that's helping me with my website. My music mentor, Derek the Great. Like Derek doesn't do R&B. You know, he's gospel and inspirational and Duff Stuff Records. And Derek the Great is invaluable to me. When I say invaluable, his advice, his expertise in the business cannot be matched. He knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he knows his stuff. And you're speaking about a band, but I want to go to one band who I felt was underrated. And I believe they played on the Uptown Unplugged special and on the CD with Jodeci, band out of Buffalo, New York, Joe Public.
Man, yo, yeah. Yo, listen to me. Listen to me. Any band that played with Devontae Swing, listen, live, you are a goon band. I can't understand, like, who are the people that tells people who to like people and who not to like people? Like, I don't get it. Like, because who are them people? I want to know. Like, I want to know who they are. Because think about this. That band, I love Mint Condition. Mint Condition is like, woo, woo, woo. But that band, bruh, come on, bruh. Listen to me, man. I don't know. But anybody that played with Devontae Swing, to me, you're a goon.
Right. Yeah. And Devontae had an eye for talent, because think about everybody that came out of the basement. Player, rest in peace, Static Major, Tweet, Missy, Timbaland, Genuine, Magoo. I mean, I know the basement stuff is probably floating around somewhere, and they'll probably go for a pretty penny if it gets out, because I believe Genuine probably had an album made before he left the basement to go do Genuine the Bachelor.
Yes, man, back then, Genuine, boy, I wish I had signed. I wish I would have signed back then. But listen to me, back then, that music was music. When Genuine came out with, is there any more room for me in them jeans? Bruh, bruh, bruh. If you just, this is what I do to a lot of songs. I take the vocals out and I just listen to the instrumental. Bruh, that was a genius cut.
Because Timbaland is one of the producers for me that makes me put a song on repeat. The others are Swiss Beats and the Neptunes. Because when I first heard The World Is So Cold off Genuine the Bachelor, that beat, I was like, what is this?
Listen, the Neptunes, they own, listen, they own the oceans, bro. That's all I gotta say. The Neptunes is nothing to be played with. The Neptunes put out some things. Man, as a producer, man, there's some people that, man, the Neptunes,
Timbaland. To think about how they're so seamlessly to go from hip hop records, R&B records, pop records, and all that can be traced back to Teddy, because Teddy was the first to go from R&B to
Teddy.
pop.
You like you said it, Teddy. Everything goes back to Teddy. This New Jack Swing. You said New Jack Swing. Everything after that has been. You can root everything back to Teddy. You can root everything back to New Jack Swing. Some type of New Jack Swing, you can root it.
It all goes back to Teddy, because if you think about how R&B was before Teddy, how it was very adult, very smooth. Anita, Luther, Sade, Freddie Jackson, and then when Teddy came and the Make It Last Forever album dropped by Keith Sweat, it was an R&B game changer.
It was a. You had an 808 bass on there. You had the kick. You had the snare. I mean, it wasn't that smooth no more. It was a 808, and you was to a smooth song. You was, right. You know what I mean? Yeah, Keith Sweat, Make It Last Forever, Mr. Keith Sweat,
Mr. Keith Sweat. But in one R&B group that I felt should have been bigger, they're my favorite R&B group, along with New Edition. The 5 men out of Pasadena, rest in peace, Reggie Warren, talking about Troop.
Listen, I don't know how Troop isn't bigger than what they should have been. What they are. They should have been huge. I thought they was huge. To me, they was huge.
Yeah. And Steve, of course, Steve, all the songs Steve has written over the years and everything. For B2K, Naked for Marcus Houston. Troop, I felt dancing wise. Now, there's a difference between their style and New Edition. New Edition, of course, Brooke, they come from that school of 60s, 70s male R&B groups like the Dramatics, Whispers, Temps, Blue Magic. Troop combined the polishedness of those groups with street-oriented dancing and was just as tight.
Yeah. Troop was a goon. I don't know. And listen, I just hope I'm honestly, I hope I'm one of the producers that people won't look over. Like I hope I'm one that will catch, because there's been a lot of music that should, a lot of groups that should be in a Hall of Fame for just one song. They have changed music because they didn't get big. You had other people with their style, Troop style, make it.
And I want to give props to this one person who I had a chance to interview years ago, Mr. Maurice Starr. If it wasn't for Maurice Starr, no New Edition.
No New Edition.
No New Kids.
No matter what they say about it.
No New Kids. But think about what New Kids did. How he was smart enough to say, hey, I'm going to take what worked for New Edition, find 5 white kids, do the same thing, push them in the R&B market, and then influence pop. Because I interviewed Danny Wood from New Kids as well. And he was telling me how they were R&B inspired all the way. New Edition influenced us. We're not copying New Edition, we're paying homage. So once pop got a hold of them, it was weird for them because they felt like we wanted to be an R&B group all the way. So to be looked at and marketed as a pop act was totally weird. But if you think about their influence and New Edition's influence and how both those groups influenced generations of R&B and pop groups and all that from Maurice Starr and how New Kids Camp, it was predominantly African-American camp.
Yeah, and listen, Maurice Starr, when I watched the movie, a New Edition movie, documentary and all this, he had, if it wasn't for Maurice Starr putting on them talent shows and putting on the little, you know, the radio stations and this, we wouldn't, music, I can't imagine music without New Edition. I can't. I can't imagine. That's like imagining basketball without Michael Jordan. That's crazy. It doesn't sound right. And Maurice Starr made that happen.
Right.
He influenced with that. I don't care what anybody say about anybody. And listen, when you first starting out, your intentions are pure. Your intentions are pure. It's when you catch, then intentions turn. You know? And when you get money, the Bible lets us know that the love of money is the root of all evil. We need money to survive, but the love of money is the root of all evil. And when you begin, and then when you catch money, and when you catch and you get money, them intentions start, them same morals and them same things start going out the window now because of money. Now, but when it first started, pure as the driven snow.
Right.
And that's what music is.
What is the profit of man to gain the world but lose his soul?
Lose his soul. My wife said it the other night. She said, "Baby, you better not sign no contracts with Illuminati." I started laughing at her. I said, "You really believe?" She was like, "Baby, you don't even know how y'all about to catch." They missing y'all. They need y'all. They missing that. It was like the R&B music was given and then snatched right back. It was snatched, and, you know. And I know I'm in the right season. You know, some people, you gotta know the seasons. I know I'm in the right season because if I wasn't in the season, why is JoJo and Dalvin and a couple other R&B people pushing out new music right now? Like right now. Like Dalvin in the studio, right? He just dropped And JoJo just dropped Official. And that's not a Jodeci, that's single. You know what that means? That means this is coming, it's coming back again. Everything that we have experienced, this world is round, is repeating itself. And sometimes we repeat it because we didn't pass it. You know? So I believe this world is coming back around. It's coming back again for the male R&B, for the male group. I think it's coming back with this groove music. Come on, P. Diddy about to come back in the production booth. I mean, it's coming back again. This time, Kevin Cooper and Cooper Family Music has to be in there. We have to find our own little piece and make it our own. Our own. Jarrell, I promise you our sound is different. It's you got our my boy, you got our gospel sounds, but you got our R&B sounds. We took all of that, we put it together.
Now, speaking of the projects, you got anything that we should be looking forward to, or is everything still in the working process?
Everything's still processed, but I have this one girl, my little cousin, Zane Brown. She's gonna be a goon. She's a goon. But when I say it's because of the studio time. You know, what I've decided to do, I never like messing with the middleman. I never like messing with the middleman. The middleman right now is the studio. So what I've done is started building my own. When I say started building my own, started building my own. I'm waiting for the booth to come in. And when the booth comes in, that's when I'm gonna be that's when everything will be perfect. I got like I have most of the software in, I have the speakers, I have the mics, but I need the booth to come in. I ordered like it's already made. You know, one of them that's already made is rolling, it's like you have it's like a room. You put it in the corner, it's a booth. It costs like $4,500, but it's worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. We're definitely looking forward to all the projects that'll be coming out, and you got an open spot anytime to come back. And do you have any shout outs you want to give before we wrap, and also plug social media?
Listen, the plug, you can go check us out on Instagram, Kev Cooper. You can check me out on Facebook, that's Kevin Cooper Senior, or you can check me out. It's cooperfamilymusic.net. Hit the 3 lines, go check out our new artists. And then you got just hit us up. Just Cooper Family Music, www.cooperfamilymusic.net. But then listen, be on the lookout. We're going to come out. I'm just trying to hold it a little bit. We're going to come out with something. I got mad beats that we can just put out right now. I was going to do remember how Herbie Hancock came out with his video, and it was just music.
Rocket.
I was going to do something like that, and I'm still thinking about it.
Okay, so definitely I'm looking forward to everything. Go to all those websites. You can catch this interview on audio and video form wherever you stream podcasts, on my YouTube.
Shout out to Derek the Great. Sorry.
What up, Derek? And go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/J5, and also beyondthealbumcover.wordpress.com. That's where you can find this interview and the whole archives. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big thank you to the one, the only Mr. Kev Cooper. Kev, thank you for coming on to Beyond the Album Cover, and you got a spot to come back anytime.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Not a problem. Yes, sir.